Good afternoon. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tumi Tladi, and yeah, let's get down to business of the day. So now, in our previous video, episode number 101, video number 101, we were looking at font awesome icons. It's a very interesting video. However, towards the end, while I attempted to show where I might have used those font awesome icons, what happened is that the app was not able, well, it did connect to the backend, which is the server, in this case ASP.NET Web API, right? But the problem is that it returned this ugly error message. And when I did show how I handle try and catch block using try and catch block mechanism to handle in case that if it doesn't return status code 200, meaning that everything went well. In this case, it did not even return 400, which is bad request, or 404 not found. It returned 500 internal server error. So I want to show with a screenshot. So I save it on my favorite. So this is what we saw yesterday. I want to show this icon that you see here, this icon. But then again, for us to get to this icon, it had to, I'll show when I run the app. So this is what we saw yesterday. I even tested the server, or should I say the backend, which is the hosted and deployed version of this application, which is ASP.NET Web API. It was working perfectly fine. So meaning that it's possible for you not to reach, well, to reach your server, but not to get what you want. So what I'm trying to say is we need to learn to write an appropriate message to say, the server could not be reached at this moment. Please try again later, as opposed to having to show the user this ugly error message. I hope it makes sense, but I also have App Center to track those error messages. So now let's get rid of this guy, and then let's launch the app to see is everything okay today before we talk about the business of today. So this is a splash screen. Please watch this video. We cover splash screen, and then what it's gonna do, it's gonna check for the new updates. It's talking to that server. You see now today it's perfect. That means it was able to get status code to 200, mean that there's no a new version, that is currently available. So that's good news. Good. So today we're going to talk about images. This is an image. How do you have images across your Xamarin applications? I thought this was very important. The first image that you see is this one. I call it a logo. And then how does my image, embed, how is it embedded nicely with the background color? And also, what about this image? Let me do this. What about this image? How do you get this image there? Also, how do you get this image here? All of these things. Let me see if I do app info. How do you get this image here? And by the way, this app, just to remind you, it's installed from Google Play Store. So let's see that. There we go. It says app downloaded from Google Play Store, and this is a version number. So it's not an app that's coming, that's directly being installed via Visual Studio. No. So let's talk about these images, because this is Xamarin, right? So let's go back to the app. Cool. So images for both Android and iOS as a platform-specific project. Also talk later on about fonts, and I'll show you where the fonts are being utilized in a second. And then the fonts are on the share project. So let's go to Visual Studio. I have a Visual Studio that's been running in idle mode. Let's go to shared project now. So the images, under no circumstances, place your images here on the shared project. Do not do that. I believe I saw with Flutter, if I'm not mistaken, yes, with Flutter, they store their images directly in the shared project. But in Xamarin, the architecture is different, right? So now, instead of it being there, I'm going to start with Android. And I'm going to start with resources. Cool. And then we're going to go straight to drawable. So these are the system images. Like you see that black, if I hover, it showed this icon or this image. I want you, the thumbnail, I want you to pay attention to this because you see where they've been utilized throughout this series, but I want you to pay attention. So I have a black and I have black not, meaning the black is not supported. I have color, and then I have color not, meaning color is not supported. These are my images. They're not coming from the internet. I designed them myself. And then I have the logo, and by the way, the logo is designed by me. So this logo is a transparent version. And then I have a services background. Now this image has been used on the terms of service page. Please watch the video. And then I have a terms, well, no, wait, services, wait, no, sorry. Services, it's on the services page. But this is of, this one is the terms of service image in the background, and this is me, Tumi Tladi. We saw this on the version updates page. Okay, so this is where they are, the images, right? So the logo is just the logo that you see here. This guy is a transparent version. Okay, cool. And now let's move from drawable. There's nothing here, but there's something here. So I also have the logo. Now this one, it is the guy that's responsible for what you see here. What you see here, this logo, it is responsible for what you see here. Secondly, it is the same logo that's responsible here, right? Cool. And then what else? Let's do this. Okay, but I think what I did, logo, this one is an icon, it's a Xamarin one. I haven't removed these ones, and I should remove them when I clean up the system. So by default, you get these ones for different devices, I believe. Yes. Cool. So this is for Android. But another thing that's interesting about Android is the main activity. So let's do this. Let's give it a couple of seconds to load. Couple of more seconds. There we go. So now for the icon to actually be where it was, or yes, in those places, this is what we had to use as part of the attribute activity to say icon is going to be mid-map logo. So it's going to look for mid-map this logo, and that's it. And then it will handle the rest for Android. Okay, so let's talk about iOS. Now for iOS, everything lives in resources. So the same images, I need them. The same images that you saw, including the logo. And every image lives here. But for iOS, obviously, because I'm currently unable to test the iOS version on my iPhone. Yes, I do have an iPhone and iPad. I cannot test them there because of this project. It needs Xcode, and then that can only be on the MacBook laptop. Okay, so that's the topic of the images. So how does Xamarin know about those images? I'm glad you asked. So let's start with the terms of service page. So let's go to content pages. Let's see, terms of service page. Yes, this one. So how do you call them from a shared project? Good question. So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be going to stack layout. And then what we need to do, so this is the image. So you just need the image control, and then the source, just say terms of service.png. Do not do anything else. Do not. It won't figure it out. But if you do this, it will search wherever you place this image correctly, and it will look for terms_service.png, and it will load that image appropriately. So this is for terms of service. And then for version updates, let's go to version updates on startups, not there. Let's look for how that Tumi Tladi image. There we go. So image, as you can see, the source is tumitladi.jpg. Okay, and where else? And then obviously, lastly, on the services, for the prices, the many images there, multiple images. We still want to cover this page. Stay tuned for that one. So let me look for the image control in here. There we go. So this is going to be interesting. So this video, I want you, when I get to the prices page for the services, I want you to know, to notice, how do I bind the image? This is why I decided to make this video, because it's not just about showing, oh, this way. No, I had to learn. If the image is not going to be static, how do I bind it? So we'll talk about that. I'm not going to do this, but we'll talk about that. So stay tuned for that. So finally, on the topic of images, is that this is how Xamarin.Forms handles images, right? But what I want to bring you to attention is how .NET MAUI handles the images, meaning that .NET MAUI is going to be different. It's going to group them in one single project or one single folder. So what's going to happen is that you won't have images for iOS, you won't have images for Android per platform specific, but you'll have them in one folder and all the platforms will know about them. That's a cool thing. So we are done with the first part of this episode, which is images. And now we should talk about fonts, because it's a very, very interesting topic, this one, fonts on the shared project. Okay, cool. So what about fonts? Let me first show with the app what I'm talking about. So if I click, I'm a business or store owner, and we're gonna do this video, this episode, next. We're gonna cover this. We're gonna test it live with the MVC. So this font, you see this font? Welcome to Identical Dogs. It's a different font. It's not part of a built-in font. It's an external font. Okay, so let's talk about that. So for this one, let's start with Android, and let's go to resources. Wait. For the fonts are directly on the share project. So let's go to utilities. There we go. There's a folder called fonts. So this font, it's a TTF file. It's a Baskerville. I loved it when I saw it on the internet. I'm like, I like this font. So this font, as you can see, it's already checked, to version control system. It's on both GitHub and Azure DevOps. So the idea is that I have this font, right? And it's exactly what we see here. Welcome to Identical Docs, right? Cool. So I put inside a folder called fonts, but how do we make use of it? I'm glad you asked. So from the share project, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to assembly info.class.cs class. So what we do is that we're going to now add this assembly to say export font. So it says it to be added, right? And then this is the name of the font, as you can see, name of the font exactly as it is. It knows where to search for it, don't worry. And then I give it alias. Now alias is a very, very powerful property, because then I can reference a font using the name I gave it anywhere within the application, so that this makes it to be consistent. So Baskerville Old Face font. So this is the name of the font. So where did I make use of it? I'm glad that you asked. So let's go to the content views, particularly looking at startups for client page. Let's go. So we'll cover this in the next video, but what I want to focus on is this label, these two labels. These two labels, the text says welcome to, the second label says Identical Dogs, right? It's a normal label, but what you see here is different, that the font family on line number 32 and line number 41 is that it's referencing that alias Baskerville Old Face font, and that's how we get to see what we see here. Welcome to Identical Dogs. It knows how to resolve this imperfectly. You don't have to do anything else. You just have to do this, and then that's it. So I just want to show this because these are critical things that no one is willing to show how these pieces are working together, but This is why this YouTube channel was created by me, to show the simplicity of Xamarin.Forms and why it should be the choice of your programming framework for mobile applications. With that being said, thank you very much. I hope this video provides some insights into images on both Android and iOS, and then fonts on the shared project. With that being said, stay tuned as we're going to cover this page, what's happening on this page. We're going to do some stuff. We're going to be entering some stuff. We're going to be looking at some controls. Listen, I provide nothing but the best, good quality content. And with that being said, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, like it. Leave a comment down in the comment section below. Share the video on the socials. Tell your fellow developers about the goodness of this YouTube channel. Finally, click on the subscription button so you have the ability to click on the notification bell to be notified when I drop these videos. Do you see how short this video is? I want to stay, on the one thing only, like focus on one thing only. With that being said, let's meet again in our next episode. With that being said, thank you very much. Until next time.